All right, I'm going to do a quick video on petty cash. So this one, it'll be pretty quick, but if you want more, don't hesitate to email me. I'm happy to post more examples and videos and things like that, but we'll just kind of give the overview of petty cash. So the idea with petty cash is we're going to take cash, your normal debit balance of cash, and we're going to create a new fund. And really, we only create that fund, petty cash, at the beginning. Okay, and so we create it kind of basically we're setting aside money to use for like little things, day-to-day office needs, you know, buying coffee or paying for postage or whatever, donuts, whatever. So anyways, it's just a form of internal control. Basically, we're going to set aside some money. It's not going to be a crazy amount of money, and then assign someone to be in charge of that money and then keep track of it. Okay, so the person in charge is called the custodian. Okay, we're going to specify the amount that we're going to keep in it, and then we'll replenish that amount probably at the end of each month or something like that. Okay, and everything, we should have tickets or receipts for every time we use money from the petty cash. Now, what you'll see on these examples, at least the way they like to do it in the textbook and stuff like that, is actually to show that our receipts don't match up with the amount of cash left over. So that's kind of what I guess what you're learning to do with the journal entries is to show if there's a deficiency or an excess or something like that. Okay. All right. So first time when we establish the petty cash fund, okay, what we're going to do is remove it from cash. So remember, cash is a normal debit balance. So we're going to credit cash and then debit petty cash. Okay. Just like this. So for $150. Now the key to this is, well, what's important is this is the only time that we're actually adjusting that petty cash amount. Okay. Just when we're establishing the fund, or if we're increasing the amount. So let's say we started out with a fund of $150 and then we decide we want to increase it, okay? Then we would debit petty cash for another $50 to get us up to $200, and then we would credit cash for $50. But the only time that we deal with petty cash is actually when we're establishing the fund or we're changing the amount of the fund, okay? So again, the other thing that could happen is, say we're at $150 for a petty cash fund and we want to reduce it down to $100. Well, in that case we would debit cash for $50 and credit petty cash. Okay, so that's establishing the fund. You just, you know, whatever it tells you the balance needs to be, you debit petty cash for that amount and credit cash for that amount. Okay, so pretty straightforward. Now, at the end of the month, you can see that was at the beginning of the month, we decided we're going to set up a petty cash fund. Now that would only really happen once, right? And then from then on out, we wouldn't have this journal entry anymore, okay? But at the end of the month, it says we have $30 in cash and $106 in tickets, okay? So what you know is that if our cash is $30, we need to credit cash for the difference. Okay, so we know that there's going to be a credit, the difference between $30 and $150. So there's going to be a difference. We need a credit of $120. Okay, that's just a guarantee. We always need to get it up to the $150. Okay, in this case, $150, right? It could be $200, it could be $300, whatever the balance should be, we need to get it there. Okay, so we would have a credit for $120. Okay, now if you look at it, we're going to have all of these debits. Okay, so office supplies, that's an asset, so we would debit that. Delivery expense, that's an expense, so we would debit that. Postage expense, $55, debit that. And miscellaneous expense, $7, we would debit that. So we would have all of those and you would add them up. Here, let me just add them up real quick. Showing you the answer, but if we add up all those expenses, which really it tells us it's 106, right? So if we go 13 plus 31 plus 55 plus 7 we get 106, okay? But remember, we ended up crediting cash for 120, the difference between 150 and 30, right? 150 minus 30. Okay, so that's our credit to cash 120. So there's a difference there, right? All of these debits add up to 106. The credit adds to 120, and the difference is $14, right? So 120 minus 106. So we've got a $14 difference, and that's, you know, our credits are higher than our debits, so we need to add another debit of $14. So for cash short over. So essentially what happened is someone forgot to put in a ticket or something like that. Okay? Now it can go the exact opposite way too, where we would need a cash short over that would be a credit. Okay? But the process, and that's really what I like to teach you, the process to follow is right off the bat, just do the difference between what the fund balance should be and what the cash balance is, and make sure and credit that to cash. Okay? Then go through, record all of your debits, and then figure out what the difference is, and the difference will result in a debit or a credit. Okay, you'll notice there is nothing here at the end of the month that says petty cash. Okay, and that's really important. Okay, do not debit or credit petty cash anymore. Only do it when you're establishing the fund or changing the balance. See, we're not changing the balance, right? We're going from $30 of cash, we're adding 120, so that gets us back to the balance. We're not changing the balance, okay? So that's your petty cash example. You'll see in the Google Sheets for this class, there's another example in there that you can work out also on your own, and just let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, okay?